Welcome to Real Talk with your host, Dr. Valencia Campbell, on the Big Talker 1580.
Hello, and welcome to Real Talk. I'm Dr. Valencia Campbell, and I am your host. Real Talk is a weekly radio show designed to address some of the most challenging issues confronting our community, including substance abuse and treatment, finding mentors, the real story about getting into law school or medical school, personal experiences with trying to get a conditional pardon, and so forth. Indeed, we've had some really exciting guests on our show, talked about this whole issue of substance abuse treatment in a previous show, and today we're here talking about helping young people make a difference in the arts. My guest today is Miss Patricia Randall. Patricia is a native Washingtonian, born and raised in a military family who traveled extensively nationally and abroad until settling back home in the D.C. area. She began her career in the U.S. Maritime Administration with the U.S. Department of Transportation and retired in 2005 with over 39 years of service. During the course of her career, she served in a number of other important positions, which included acting director and deputy director of civil rights at the national level, federal women's program manager, Hispanic program manager, and was a certified mediator and alternative dispute program manager. She's received numerous awards for her leadership, creativity, and dedication to program administration. Her past experience as governor of the Mid-Atlantic District of the National Association of Negro Business and Professional Women's Club has also been an important element of her career. She enjoys traveling, reading, and staying busy, as you all can quite frequently hear from all of the activities I previously mentioned. Welcome, Pat, to the show.
Thank you, Dr. Campbell. I really, really appreciate this invitation to be here today. It is my honor.
Well, we are so excited that you're here today to tell us a little bit about the current classical music competition that is taking place in our area.
I'd be happy to. We are really excited about this. The Millennium Seat Pleasant Club of the National Association of Negro Business and Professional Women's Clubs Incorporated, that's a mouthful, and the Opera Guild of Northern Virginia have come together as a partner. And what we're planning to do is stand up a classical music competition. This is planned for October 13th, 2012. And we're going to be at the Walker Chapel United Methodist Church in Arlington, Virginia. And it's coming together quite well. We have a committee, a small committee at the present time, but we are extending invitations to other organizations, and you'll be receiving your invitation.
Well, thank you very much. That sounds exciting. But tell us a little bit about how this came about. How did you decide to have a competition for classics? We hear so much about, all the things that are going on television today in terms of people trying to be the best this or that, the singing competition, but it hasn't reached into the classical sphere. So tell us a little bit about how that came about.
Well, the Millennium Seat Pleasant Club is a subsidiary club of the National Association, as you were probably have already figured out from the full title. And a part of what we do is to promote cultural activities. And African Americans have historically been involved in music, especially spirituals and things of this nature. But what we wanted to do is expose young people to classical music. So it's actually a part of the mandate of the National Association. Each of the clubs should, and usually does, sponsor a competition, and if not a competition, at least a student in a competition at the local and or district level. And the winners of the local and district levels go on actually to the national level.
Okay, so what is the criteria for participation?
For this competition, which we call the competition for emerging artists. You have to be between the age of 18 and 25. You must also submit a specific set of music that is on the application form. I believe it's an aria, an art song, a Negro spiritual, and or a work by an African-American composer of contemporary.
So they definitely have to do their homework before they consider
Absolutely.
participating in this particular competition. Mm-hmm. So what would be the actual process for selecting those who would be winners here?
Mm-hmm. Well, we also invite individuals who have, classical music backgrounds. So they're instructors at universities or colleges, even at the high school level, some of the music teachers. They are our adjudicators, and they have certain selection criteria. Not selection criteria, I guess that's not the right word. They have criteria that they have to review as they observe each individual performance.
So before they come to you, they've been actually recommended by someone in these various music departments.
Absolutely.
And then your group would decide in another committee as to who would be the winners of the competition once you all actually review it, or how does that part of it work?
Well, what we're going to do is have this event in October. Public will be invited to participate and view and be a part of it. We will have the adjudicators there on site. They will actually watch a performance. It's like being at a concert. And each individual will perform his or her works, and they'll go off into another area. The next individual will come out and perform his or her works. At the end of those performances, the adjudicators step into another area altogether, and they consult, make notes, compare, and they come back with first, second, and third place winners. And
I see. So these are people who have been trained to listen.
Absolutely.
So it's not a situation where it's a popularity vote or anything like that, some of the other things that would go on in some of the more televised competitions. With that, it sounds really fabulous. Mm-hmm. So then, how has this honor affected, for example, the future activities or interests of past winners?
Well, the good thing about it is that some of these young people were not even aware of our association, first of all. So the competition gives them exposure to our association. They know that we can serve as a resource for them in referrals for possibly other competitions. If they relocate, then we can refer them to other clubs to perform in their competitions. We are able to provide them some exposure that they might not otherwise have. And participating in the competition as well, they now have something to add to their credentials. Whether or not they placed, they participated. And in most cases, they are runner-ups, even if they are not first, second, or third place winner.
That is really very good news to hear. And have you found that the young people have told their friends about it too? That you've had referrals, like in years that maybe the following year, and other students actually take an interest into that as well?
Yes, we have been contacted by friends of past participants who are interested in being in the competition. And those, if you place first, unfortunately, you cannot re-enter at that level.
Okay.
But if you don't place first, then you can re-enter yourself the next year and still have another opportunity to perform and to, move up the ladder, so to speak, into the district and national competitions.
Well, I am so glad that you're here today to talk about this, because I do think it is so important for our young people to hear about all of the opportunities that are available besides those that are trying to participate in other types of music, for example, the rapping and these other things that we often hear about that get a lot of media exposure and attention. So that is absolutely fantastic. What are the parents saying to you when they come in and see their children performing and on stage and all of this?
Well, they're super excited. They already know, I think, what their child's skill level or interest or whatever, but being able to be in a competition is really exciting for them. To see also how their child measures up, if you will, with others. I think that also helps them because then they know areas that they have to work on. But they invite their family, their friends, and everyone, and they're just really excited about it, the whole experience. Now,
Tell us a little bit about your work with the National Association of Negro Business and Professional Women's Club. Incorporated. How did you become interested in this club? Because that's a wonderful program. That's just only one of the programs that your group sponsors.
Well, truth be told, there reached a point in my life where I felt like I wanted to do something in the community. And I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do, except to give back. And I was reading a newsletter in the little town that I lived in at that time, and it was a call for women who were interested in becoming members of the Business and Professional Women's Organization. So I attended one of their orientation meetings, and I was hooked. I've been a member now for 29 years, and I've loved every moment of it.
Well, you lucky soul. Usually most of us get these invitations that it's talking about you have to allot 90 minutes and they want to make sure they give you some spiel about a timeshare or something.
No.
So that's great that it was just what they said it was going to be.
Right.
So what sparked your interest in assuming, various positions within this club? For example, the presidency.
Well, I didn't seek the presidency. I don't know. Maybe, you never know what people are observing or what they're thinking. So apparently I was doing something, saying something, acting in some way that would have them believe that I would be a good leader. And so I was tapped on the shoulder, if you will, and asked if I would accept a nomination. And I agreed to do that and became the president of this club. And prior to being president of this club, I was in another club which actually merged and served 2 terms in that club as well, among other offices.
I was going to say, I know from just your bio, having held positions with some of the federal positions, particularly with respect to the women's leadership, the Hispanic caucuses, and so forth, that I'm sure that put you in a good position to step in and run this organization.
Well, I hadn't shared that with anyone, so they didn't know that.
Oh, they just assumed that you were going to be able to do that. Well, how long did you actually hold the position of president?
Your term your term is 2 years.
Okay.
But you can run 2 consecutive terms. So in each instance, I have served 4 terms.
Well, that is phenomenal, I have to tell you.
I was hesitating because once you do the 4 years, you can have a break, if you will. You can't hold the office for 2 years, but then you can be reelected. So it's very possible. I can't remember right off the top that I've done more than that.
So would you tell our listeners a little bit about the other programs and activities of the club?
Well, one of the things, there are many things that we want to do and should be doing as a part of the National Association. Our theme is LETS, which is leadership, entrepreneurship, technology, and service. As a part of the service, we provide workshops, seminars, and speakers in the areas of health, education, employment, and economic development. So a lot of our focus prior to a few years ago had been in community service. But, many organizations are going through paradigm shifts, and we began as a business and professional women's organization. Over the years, tended to lean a little more toward the community service, but the paradigm shift has been back to the let's part of it: leadership, entrepreneurship, technology, and service. So what we try to do is expose not only young people, but any female and male who might be interested in our activities, workshops, or whatever programs that we're sponsoring, where they're invited to be a part of it. We try to provide educational opportunities, basically.
So what specific activities focus on young people?
Well, we have a youth division and a member of the club who leads that youth division. And what she does, we work with her, but her primary responsibility is to help these young people come together, learn the social part of being a group, learn the team aspects of being involved in something, learn the leadership aspects by holding office. They actually have their own officers, president, first vice, second vice, etc., and they have responsibilities that they must perform in those areas. So that provides some background for them. We introduce them to entrepreneurship activities by having them purchase booths in expos and different things. They actually sell their own products, keep track of their own records, and so they're learning the business part of it and hopefully developing a taste for being in business for themselves. So, and each of us serves as a mentor.
That is so important with young people because I can tell you, just as a person who's been involved in instructing young people in higher education, and I've had my daughter at different points in time to assist as a teaching assistant, and I know how much work it is in terms of keeping track of, like you said, the if you're selling something and all the records that go with what was sold, how much, how many products that you have, and just trying to get a handle on whether or not you were even profitable. So aside from the fact that you just love sitting there talking to people and handing out your cards and what have you, that is so crucial. And the same thing, like I said, if you're doing some teaching or something, that grade systems and keeping track of who's done what and all of that is such an important part of being organized and feeling like you have a handle on anything that you're trying to do.
And they develop their own budgets. For instance, we like for them to attend our national conventions, and they develop a budget for their president in terms of what her expenses would be for the length of time that she's going to be there, so they know what fundraising activities they have to undertake during the year in order to help generate that revenue. And, that too is a learning process for them.
And fundraising is really, really difficult. And I can assure you that is such a wonderful skill for them to have at a very early age, because in almost any of the clubs that you're a part of, that is one of the crucial pieces in terms of keeping the organization going and so forth. So that is just phenomenal. Now, do you all have a scholarship program as well?
We do have a scholarship program. We award a scholarship annually, and it's presented at our Women's History program. You've been in attendance at our program for the last couple of years, and we've been delighted to have you. What we do is award 1 or 2 scholarships, depending on fund availability, to a high school student. We actually send out, our chairperson sends out a solicitation letter to a number of the high schools in the area. We make referrals of students that we're familiar with to the chairperson, and a committee reviews those applications and makes a selection of one or two applicants who will receive the scholarship for that year. And we have, from time to time, had a student come back and say, well, I'm experiencing a little difficulty meeting my financial obligation. Is there a way that the club can help? We've been able to do that, too.
Okay, but your scholarship program is not just funded by the organization. You actually have additional help, right?
On the local level, yes. On the national level, each of the clubs make a contribution to the national scholarship.
Oh, okay, I see.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really great as well.
So actually there are 3 that are awarded. One at the local level, one at the district level, and several on the national level.
And so this would provide an opportunity for students who may not be residents in your particular area to have access to those funds that might be available somewhere else.
Exactly.
Okay, so our listeners that are interested in scholarships, we're going to do a shout out for this for Pat's chapter to make sure later on in the program you all will hear her contact information, that this is also something that you can make notes about. But right now I want you to remind you that you're listening to Real Talk with your host, Dr. Valencia Campbell. And if you would like to get involved with a local chapter here that's committed to helping our students excel in school, stay away from criminal activity, you can visit the Prince George's County Drug Policy Coalition's website at www.pgcdpc.com. The group would love to have your support with our Speakers Bureau, and as you all have heard me previously talk, our scholarship program as well. We did have the opportunity to recently award scholarships to 17 students who resided in Council District 8, which is the district seat held by Councilman Obie Patterson, and had a very wonderful program giving out those awards for students there. So, like I said, you can reach us at www.pgcdpc.com. Now, I am back with my guest, Miss Patricia Randall, talking about helping young people make a difference in the arts. We talked a little bit about the classical music competition earlier, and also about her activities with the local club that she is involved in, and we'll have a few more things to say about that after we talk a little bit about her role as a women's business owner. So, Pat, I definitely want you to talk a little bit about that before we end the program. So tell us, what is your business?
I am the owner of a desktop publishing business. And in case there's a little unclarity about that, it is just what it says, actually. I sit at my desktop at my home, and I develop printed material that is used by organizations, individuals, etc., to promote their service, their business, their trips, whatever it is that they are looking to have some print media for.
And when did you start your business?
I started it in 2005. I actually was already involved in doing this type of work as a civil servant. That was a part of my outreach in the program that I managed. And when I retired, not being the kind of person that can sit and look at television all day, I said to myself, what can I do with my time, what the time that's left outside of business and professional women's activities? And I was already doing different types of print material for family and friends and some referrals. And I said to myself, well, you know, I've always wanted to be a business owner. It's been a very alluring type thing to me. But as with most people, you also want to know that you have a steady income. So I never gave up my federal job.
Okay, so you didn't want to be one of those who joined the ranks of we need more loans. You know what we hear when we all go to the Small Business Administration and talk to those folks or our elected officials and so forth. Did you have any family members already in business?
My generation is the first generation to have business owners, and there are two other than myself. My two cousins. One is a videographer in Connecticut, and the other is a pest control owner here in the metropolitan area.
Okay, so what has been your greatest challenge as far as you can say in terms of your own business, developing it or trying to expand it?
Well, I'm sure that expansion would be a challenge if it were something that I chose to pursue. Small businesses, they grow. They have the Rolling Stone kind of thing. You have to be in it for a time to build your clientele. So my clientele is beginning to grow, and that's wonderful. But Val, I can't really say that there's been a challenge because it is moving at a pace that I'm comfortable with.
Well, that is very good to hear. I have to tell you, I don't know many people who have not had all kinds of stories, but this is wonderful that you have not had that as an issue. So what would you say has been your most rewarding experience with the business itself?
I think my most rewarding experience is when my client is just delighted with the product that he or she receives. That gives me more gratification than anything because then I know it's a job well done. And if it's well done, then it's very likely that that person will make the referral to someone else. So. Okay,
so tell our listeners then how they can get in touch with you regarding your desktop business.
Okay, well, the website is a work in progress, but I can be reached at Pat Randall, PATRANDALL at Verizon.net. Phone number is 301-350-0488. And I'd love to hear from you.
That is absolutely phenomenal. Again, Pat, I want to thank my listeners. You all are listening to Real Talk with your host, Dr. Valencia Campbell. I'd love to hear from you about this show or some other issue of concern to you. You can reach us. That is the Prince George's County Drug Policy Coalition on www.pgcdpc.com. I want to give a special thanks to Ms. Patricia Randall for being here today.
I really appreciate it.
And thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next Saturday at noon on Real Talk.
You've been listening to Real Talk with your host, Dr. Valencia Campbell. For more information about Real Talk, contact Dr. Valencia Campbell at 301-341-2247 or reach them online at valenciacampbell2003 at yahoo.com.